#CampusCarryNow. Well, the photo went viral online, and Kent State University graduate Caitlin Bennett joins us right now from Cleveland. Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Why did you want to take that picture?
I wanted to take the picture because I wanted to take a jab at the insulting policies that Kent State has regarding arming their students. I wanted them to know that it was unacceptable for them to let guests carry, but not students. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, according to the Kent State website, the university has rules against students, faculty, and staff carrying any deadly weapons. What's your problem with that?
My problem is that it's kind of insinuating that they care more about the lives of their guests than the lives of their students that spend 4 or more years on that campus. If guests can arm themselves and protect themselves, I should be able to as well.
Why did you want to carry? I know you've graduated, so this is just a hypothetical question, but why did you want to carry a gun on campus?
Simply to express my Second Amendment right. Also, I am the founder of a club on Kent State campus, Liberty Hangout, and we were doing an event where we just opened a discussion to people to come talk to us about gun rights, and my cameraman got assaulted. If we had a firearm present on us, open carried, I definitely believe that wouldn't have happened.
What's the reaction been like?
It's been crazy. I was not expecting the blatant racism that's been thrown at me, the right-out death threats,
What kind of racism?
Calls. So they're saying that I have white privilege for going out on campus with my AR-10. They are saying that this all has to do about me being white, that I was able to do this. I think that's very insulting to minorities. I don't think that anything bad would happen to them. I actually had a black police officer with me the whole time that was just, he loved it. So, it's just insulting.
So the reason you did not...
Hi. Oh, okay. So I have never spoken to a crowd like this before, so if I get nervous, then just ignore me. So, this is my boyfriend, my biggest supporter.
Saving the best for last, huh? Let's give another big hand to one of the bravest young people in this country, taking the fight for liberty to the heart of liberalism, and that is college campuses. So, ladies and gentlemen, Caitlin Bennett.
He's great. So when John asked me to speak, I kind of thought, what am I going to say to a crowd of people in a short amount of time that could really explain how I felt? And I just spoke to the Parkland kids about 30 minutes ago, and all I have to say is that I am sick and tired of this gun control bullshit being spewed by these communists. I don't get it. They come from emotion, and I get the emotion, but I don't get how they completely ignore the fact that they were in a gun-free zone. 98% of mass shootings happen in a gun-free zone. The government failed them that day. Yeah. Gun owners did not. The government did. They knew it was going to happen.
Gun-free zones are chill zones.
And when I was talking to them, they were unapologetic about wanting to take our firearms. And they guise it as, oh, we're pro-Second Amendment, this and that. No, you're not. Don't come over here telling me, oh, I'm pro-Second Amendment. We just believe in restricting this or more background checks for this. You don't believe in the Second Amendment, and stop saying it. I'm tired of them trying to act like they're part of us, because they're not. So going forward in our activism, and especially young people, we need to be unapologetic because they aren't apologizing for anything. So we need to do the exact same. And I know that it's been said a lot up on the stage about not compromising. And it's so true. We have given them an inch and they have taken a mile. And now my generation has to fight even harder to gain our rights back because people have compromised on our most important right. And it's so frustrating. So stop compromising, please. If there's anybody that's like...
No more compromises!
So if you're one of those fence setters, I support the Second Amendment, but no, you don't. And get out, literally leave. Go stand with the protesters because you don't belong here. Butters. We don't want compromisers. We're done with that.
Butters. No more butters.
So I know I'm speaking to the choir when I say every single gun law is an infringement. I absolutely believe that. I know it's weird coming from a little blonde girl in heels that walks around with an AR-10 on her college campus, but it is, it's an infringement. And when I told them, they're like, well, what about background checks? I don't believe there should be background checks. It's not the government's job to tell me I need a permit to conceal a weapon. And I honestly don't get it.
Amen.
Every single one of you should be able to stand here right now with a fully automatic machine gun, listening to me speak. I absolutely believe that. And a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go back to Kent State with one soon. So the only reason I'm here today is because the only reason I got invited today, and all of you know who I am, is because I took a picture with a gun. That's it. If that doesn't tell you the state of college campuses and how this non-issue, really gun rights is not an issue. It shouldn't be controversial for a woman to protect herself or even carry a rifle. Yet because I did exactly what liberals don't want me to do, I went viral because of a photo. It's that easy. So we really need to reach out to these young people, get out on college campuses, do a gun rights event. Just take a picture and post it online. People will listen. And so where I'm coming from, you know, it's important to talk to the other side and try to change their minds. Except for the Parkland kids, because they're getting paid. So unless you have a bigger paycheck than George Soros, you're not getting through to them. But where I'm coming from is that we need to inspire the people who already think like us. They're out there, but they're terrified to say something because of what happened to me. I got death threats. People want to rape me, but I'm armed, so it's not going to happen. So I don't know what they're doing. So, you know, coming off of that, they're kind of doing half the work for us. When they threaten me and when they threaten you guys, and they say, oh, you know, you deserve to be shot. I'm gonna come to your house, I'm gonna find you. People stalk me in restaurants and take pictures of me and say they're gonna punch me in the head. Well, thank you for trying, thank you for saying that, because guess what? You're proving why we carry. They are shooting themselves in the foot every second. And I have to thank them for being so nasty and proving to everybody why we carry. So, I guess, I know I'm running out of time, but I guess I'm gonna leave with the fact that on college campuses, it is absolutely normal for someone to walk around with an Antifa jacket. Absolutely normal. Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely normal.
Traitors of America.
It's absolutely normal for communists to walk around and just display it. It's disgusting. I support their free speech, but it's absolutely disgusting. So what we need to normalize, we need to have be normalized on college campuses are firearms, are students protecting themselves. And that starts with engaging with young people that you already know on college campuses. Colleges are not the same as many of you remember them. They're not. They have safe spaces now. They have cry closets. It's absolutely insane. So what we need to normalize are students protecting themselves to make sure that nothing ever happens to them, especially women on college campuses who are more subjected to sexual assault. And they proudly display those flyers saying 1 in 4 women will be sexually assaulted. Well, what can I do about it? Nothing. They instill fear in people and then have nothing to give them to be able to protect themselves. And I should be able to protect myself on my campus against rapists. So, I guess all I have to say, and I'm really big on this, if you are one of those, I'm a Second Amendment supporter, but please leave. Because we don't want you here. And I don't want you representing something to where I'm gonna have to fight harder when I'm older. And my sister is gonna have to fight harder when she grows up to be able to protect herself. And I'm not gonna let anything happen to her. Amen. So. Come and take it.
I just want to say really quickly how immensely proud I am of Caitlin, because in the past 2 months, if if my little blonde and beautiful girlfriend can stand up for our rights and take the heat the way that she has, there is no reason that anyone in this crowd or in this country that believes in the same things that we do should not be able to do it themselves. Over the past 2 months, I've had to deal with Caitlin on a daily basis, getting thousands and thousands of death threats in her Twitter inbox from the peaceful and tolerant left, to the point where even the FBI is investigating these threats into her. So, if she can do it, there's no more excuses. We got to go on the offensive. We got to take back our rights. And that starts on college campuses, because young people are the future of liberty. And if we want our Second Amendment rights, we got to get them back today. So thank you so much.
You have to give us your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Mark Robinson. I live at... That's right here in Greensboro. I've lived in Greensboro all my life. I didn't have time to write a fancy speech. I didn't have time to, I didn't have the resource of an English teacher to sit down and write a speech with at school today and be, brought over here or practice or anything. What I really came down here for is this. I've heard a whole lot of people in here talking tonight about this group and that group, and domestic violence and blacks, these minorities and that minority. What I want to know is, when are you all going to start standing up for the majority? And here's who the majority is. I'm the majority. I'm a law-abiding citizen who's never shot anybody, never committed a serious crime, never committed a felony. I've never done anything like that. But it seems like every time we have one of these shootings, nobody wants to put the blame where it goes, which is at the shooter's feet. You want to put it at my feet. You want to turn around and restrict my right, constitutional right that's spelled out in black and white. You want to restrict my right to buy a firearm and protect myself from some of the very people you're talking about in here tonight. It's ridiculous. I don't think Rod Serling could come up with a better script. It does not make any sense. The law-abiding citizens of this community and many communities around this country, we're the first ones taxed and the last ones considered and the first ones punished when things like this happens, because our rights are the ones that are being taken away. That's the reason why I came down here today. Gun show or no gun show, NRA or no NRA. I'm here to stand up for the law-abiding citizens of this community, because I'm going to tell you that what's going to happen. You can take the guns away from us all you want to. You all write a law, I follow the law, I'll bring my guns down here, I'll turn them in. But here's what's going to happen. The Crips and the Bloods on the other side of town, they're not going to turn their guns in. They're going to hold on to them. And what's going to happen when you have to send the police down there to go take them? The police can barely enforce the law as it is. As what I see, we demonize the police, criminalize and vilify the police, and we make the criminals into victims. And we're talking about restricting guns? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that when the police department's already hamstrung? You're not going to be able to go down here and take these guns from these criminals. So the criminals are going to hold on to their guns. They're still going to have them. They're still going to break in my house, and they're still going to shoot me with them. And guess who's going to be the one that suffers? It's going to be me. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight, it is not going to happen without a fight. And when I say fight, I don't mean shots fired. I don't mean fist thrown. I mean I'm going to come down here to this city council and raise hell just like these loonies from the left do until you listen to the majority of the people in this city. And I am the majority. The majority of the people in this city are law-abiding, and they follow the law, and they want their constitutional right to be able to bear arms. They want to be able to go to the gun show and buy a hunting rifle or a sport rifle. There are no military-grade weapons sold at the gun show. An AR-15 is not a military-grade weapon. Anybody that would go into combat with an AR-15 is a fool. It's a semi-automatic .22 rifle. You'd be killed in 15 minutes in combat with that thing. So we need to dispel all these myths, and we need to drop all this division that we got going on here. Because the bottom line is, when that Second Amendment was written, whether the framers liked it or not, they wrote it for everybody. And I am everybody. And the law-abiding citizens of this city are everybody. And we want our rights, and we want to keep our rights. And by God, we're going to keep them. come hell or high water.
We just had some young folks over here in the corner over here talking, and I was over here listening to them. And everything they repeated was statistics, and this, and that. All of it, probably give it to them by some communist, some leftist, some socialist. But let me tell you this. There's an element to this that everybody forgets, and it's this. It's common sense. There's a common sense element to all this. The bottom line is this, whether you like it or not, the world is made up of predator and prey. Prey is defenseless. Predators are not. We can defend ourselves from predators because our God in heaven endowed us with the inalienable right to arm ourselves with whatever we see fit to protect ourselves, whether it be from criminals or a tyrannical government or whatever it may be. And the one thing that these children do not understand is the world is not made of rainbows and lollipops. There are people right here close to this state house that will cut your throat for a dollar. And they'll do it for sure if you don't have a way to defend yourself. They had better wake up, and they had better wake up quick. They better crack open the Bible, and right next to it, they better crack open a history book. And they better take some lessons from both. Because the defenseless, they always end up under the thumb of tyrants and despots. Always. You go back and you look through history. You look at Lenin, and you look at Stalin, and you look at Hitler, and you look at Mao, and you look at Castro. What did all of them do? They took the guns. You look at the British government. Before our revolution started, why did they come here? They didn't come here to shut down a newspaper. They came here to seize the arsenal because they knew with that arsenal we could protect our freedom, to gain our freedom from them, and that's exactly what we did. So again, these young people need to wake up and smell the coffee and realize that Second Amendment, if we continue to let it be diminished, it's already been diminished enough. If we continue to let it be diminished, the forces that want to will destroy it and wipe it away. And once it's gone, guess what's going to be silenced next? It's not just your guns, it's going to be your mouths, your opinions, your thought. It's all going to be shut down. The only reason you have the ability to speak up and be a free person is because you have the ability to defend your freedom. And you don't defend your freedom with a pen. You defend your freedom at the point of a gun. It's always happened that way. We don't send our police officers off to the streets with law books. We send them off to the streets with guns because that's what it takes to defend our laws. It takes firearms, it takes weapons. And I'm telling you right now, folks, you can look at who it is that's trying to take these rights away. You look at what they want to do. One of the things I always look at is this. Most of these folks think it's okay to murder an infant in the womb. They think it's okay to go in and take a fully formed human being, crush his brain, suck his brains out, pull his body out, and discard it like trash or sell the parts. So, what does that tell you about me and you? If they're willing to kill the most innocent and defenseless among us, what do you think they'll do to their enemies that are trying to stand up against them? We're going to shine our light and we're going to defend our light rights, come hell or high water.
USA! 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 USA!
It's American Gun Chick, and it's Gun Day Monday.
I I'd also like to thank each and every one of you for showing up, and I think all of you deserve a round of applause for being here today. Thank you so very much. And before we get into it, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the brave men and women in uniform that are protecting this rally. Thank you to all you law enforcement officers out there. I'll keep it short and sweet. Once again, Mr. Robinson was just explosive. In 1772, Samuel Adams wrote and outlined the rights of the colonialists. Among those natural rights of the colonialists are these. First, a right to life. Secondly, to liberty. Thirdly, to property. Together with this right to support and defend them in the best moment that they can, in the manner that they can. These are evident branches and rather deductions from the duty of self-preservation commonly called the law of nature. The framers and founders of the living document that we treasure as the Constitution of the United States, we had many things in common with them. First, the majority of those framers were deeply religious. They were men of God. They were devoted to God. Their word was bond. They believed in the natural rights of the colonialists, and they so believed in those rights that they were willing to fight for those rights. And also, if need be, to die for them. And many of them did. One cannot have freedom without preparing to fight for it. Our fathers knew this history, and clearly history records the thoughts of our fathers on being armed. There are many cited cases of those framers of the Constitution. I won't take up your time with their quotes, for you know them. The bottom line is, who doesn't know them is our children that are in schools right now, because they've never heard of George Washington's farewell address. They've never heard of the Federalist Papers. They haven't heard of these things unless you've taught them. The majority of children cannot name 5 of the 10 commandments from the Bible. They cannot name 3 of the prophets that wrote some of the chapters in the Bible. Why? Because socialism, a fancy word for communism, which is a monarchy for Satanism, has been infested into our schools, our government, our entertainment. In 1950, in the 50s, Senator Joseph McCarthy tried to warn the United States of America that communists were infiltrating our schools of higher education, our government institutions, and Hollywood. He would later and forever be demonized as a kook, a flake. The problem was, he was right. Journals of the people that he was accusing found out that he was right. He was correct in every assessment. Today, the socialists, sorry about that, have come out of the closet with the most of the entire media pushing their agenda, as well as the left politicians and Hollywood. We know what communism ideology does, what it stands for, and how many people have been murdered because of it. I speak as a third-generation soldier of a family that has had its entire family serve in either World War I, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm.